All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our latest episode of Writer versus Artist. I'm your host, Rich Davis. Going to be joined by my co host, Les Garner, here in just a second. And the amazing guest joining us today is Mr. Brock Smith. I'm looking a little silly today because for some reason I can't get my microphone on my computer to work and I can't get my computer to talk to my headset. So I've got this mic here and these headsets around my neck. So it's like a really cool, funky neck pillow. Feels kind of good, actually. All right, we're going to go do our thing, and we'll be right back after this. Hey, that was fast. Welcome back, everybody. Les should be showing up here in just a second, as well as our awesome. Oh, hey, Les, you're bigger than
You,
normal. I'm used to
yeah.
seeing like a big artsy thing up there with you. Where, well,
Oh yeah. I'm not actually drawing much today. It's
oh,
I'm in animation mode.
oh, that's cool.
So I've
So,
been
are,
doing.
is this the real you, or is this like an animated version of Les drinking his coffee? Because either way, it's kind of
Um,
cool.
is there a difference?
I don't really know. Oh man. So yeah, man. We'll have our guest loading in here in just a second. He texted me. He's Mr. Brock Smith. He's got a Kickstarter going live right now. So always happy to talk to him about that. So so you're not working on any kind of art today. I don't think I've
Well,
ever
I
spoken to
wouldn't
you
say
about
that. I'm definitely working on art, but it's art of a different kind.
that. Oh, you mean that fancy schmancy digital funky movement stuff, right?
Yeah. I've got an animated trailer that I'm putting together for a client,
Oh,
and
what's it for? Can you talk about it?
yeah, actually I can. So, and it ties out to, well, I say a client, that it's a client who I do a lot of work for, Resolute Bliss Publishing.
Oh yeah,
They,
they're out of Knoxville, right?
yep, great folks, great folks.
Repping
Um,
Tennessee right here.
yep, dude, like 90% of the work that I get these days comes out of Knoxville.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, Knoxville's
It's
becoming kind of a hub for comic book creation and and
it's
all that good
really
stuff.
kind of wild, man. But yeah, this so I mean, you're familiar with the Nightmare Before Emerald, the Oz series that
Oh
I'm
yeah,
doing.
oh yeah. I've
Okay.
seen lots of that.
Well, there was we were having a little brainstorm session about some stuff coming up, and this will be the first time I say this anywhere. Of course, you also are familiar with my book Brides.
Yes.
Well, I did. Okay. This is a funny story. I was asked to do a piece of promotional artwork that would promote both Oz and Brides.
Right.
Now, you know me, you know I'm very finicky and picky about my IPs. And,
What?
and I had said from the get go when I did my licensing deal with them that Brides would not get crossovers. Would not
Fair
get
enough. Yeah.
crossovers. Self contained world, no crossovers.
Yeah. It'd be kind of hard to make a Wizard of Oz and a vampire thing work. I think.
No, it's not.
Did you figure out how to do it?
I was sworn against doing this, and I knew when they came on board for Brides that they would want to do this, and I was like, nope, part of the deal, nope. And then they asked me to do a single piece of artwork. That was a promotional piece, putting my girl Eva and their version of Dorothy, which is technically my version of Dorothy because I designed her. Uh, putting Eva and Dorothy. Well, like with Oz, I've co-plotted a lot of it, so like I'm so deeply rooted in that book. It's just not even funny. I mean, it's very much a collaborative thing. There's very personal stuff that I've managed to put in that story. So I did this piece that was Dorothy and Eva together, and
Were they doing naughty things?
Pop it up on screen digital, but what I do have is the original. So it started out as what was going to be a pen and ink comic book piece for a promotion. And as I got to working on it, it just took over my brain. And I was like, this has to be a painting. So let me switch back over here. I've actually got you down here where I couldn't see.
Drum roll.
So see if that's even visible hardly on here.
Ooh, that's pretty. That's really pretty. I like it.
It's not that great. But there you see.
You can still see it though. It's really pretty, man.
That's that painting is Dorothy and Eva with the Witch of the West and Dracula.
That's really sick, dude. I like it. Well, I just got word that our guest is hanging out in here, so let's go ahead and bring him on real quick.
Well, I'm gonna finish that thought real quick.
Yep.
Because we are currently in the pre-launch phase for Oz #2, and to wrap the thought up on that painting and what I'm animating on right now, I decided that I would do a crossover of Brides and Oz, and it's in the Oz Brides Blood and Emeralds is the name of it. In the crossover, I introduce a thing that's part of Oz called Gear City.
Okay.
And then that turned into another standalone book called Gear City. And
I like it.
There's some wild promotional stuff coming up with that. So that kind of wraps that up.
Can't wait to see it, man.
Yes, in here.
All right, let's get our guests on here. Hey, what's up, Brock? How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Richard. Thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited to be here, Len. Thanks for having me, man. I'm really, really stoked to just have the opportunity to share a little bit about myself and my projects, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're so happy to have you, and so happy you were able to make your schedule work. I know it's a little difficult this time of day. Now, are you out in Cali?
Yeah, I'm in San Diego specifically.
Oh, right on, man.
Oh,
yeah.
Gorgeous weather.
St. Diego. The whales of China.
Discovered by the Germans.
Sorry,
no, it's okay. I can't tell you how regularly I myself make that quote, so it's all good. Don't worry about it.
I'm not a big comedy guy. I really don't like comedy movies, but I love Anchorman. That movie.
Only the first one.
Yeah,
only the first one.
Second one had like 3 good jokes.
Whatever.
Yeah, that first one, man. I mean, 60% of the time it works all the time.
I love Lamp. Brick killed the guy.
Oh yeah,
Brick killed the guy.
Oh, dude.
I know.
Back when I was still in the dojo in Cincinnati, sometimes I'd spar with somebody and I would just like give them a good thrashing, and then they'd be like on the floor getting back up, and I would just look at them and go, "I love Lamp."
What kind of martial arts did you do?
Shotokan karate.
Oh, that's cool. I did a little bit of Taekwondo as a kid, but I grew up mainly wrestling and then dabbled here and there and other stuff. But
whoa. You wrestled? Like, are we talking like WWE real awesome wrestling or that weird Greco-Roman stuff?
All of the above. So my dad was a wrestler when he was younger. He got my brother into it when we were younger. And then we kind of took a break because mom was like, "Oh, it's dangerous," but they would let us watch WWE. So then suddenly there's 4 boys, no girls, all wanting to wrestle. And so they had no choice. So
that's going to happen. It's like mom's looking at you and you're like, "But mom, it's WWE. What about the cocaine?"
Exactly. Where's the cocaine and the hookers? No, I've actually had
a D-Generation X here.
Yeah, well, and I've actually had the pleasure of meeting some of the superstars, and they are all truly incredible people, man. They really are. Yeah. So
and I'm definitely gonna put my age out there, like the beard doesn't already do it. But back in the day, long time ago, and I'm not a big wrestling guy, but as a little kid, it was cool.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how many of the biggest of names in that came from the Southeast and particularly Kentucky,
Mhm.
like Randy Savage and
Mhm.
Lanny Poffo, which Randy Savage's real name was Randy Poffo. They were brothers, and they trained and lived. I don't know if their father if Angelo Poffo was from Lexington, Kentucky, but they lived and trained in Lexington, Kentucky most of their lives. You know, up until the big fame hit. And when the Southeast Wrestling Conference was going on, that would eventually grow out of local TV and become a big portion of what would become the WWF and then eventually WWE. They used to do wrestling shows at area high schools all through where I lived. Now,
That's
where
cool.
I lived, there wasn't jack to do. There was nothing to do. Podunk, middle of nowhere, Eastern
I'm from
Kentucky.
Indiana, so I get it.
Oh, there you go, man. You know, Hamilton, what is it? Hamilton, Indiana. We call it Hamiltucky.
Yeah.
Because of all the Kentucky people who moved there. But but my dad was a school bus driver when I was a kid. So like he would do a lot of driving stuff for people. And he had access to like everything under the sun when it came to the schools, which doesn't sound like much, but I got to meet Jerry Lawler,
Nice,
Lanny Poffo, and Randy Savage all the same night, and got them all to sign the same old school yellow wrestling poster back then.
That's so sick.
Had that until I was in my early 20s, and a situation happened that emptied a house of mine without me knowing it. So I got all my stuff got stolen.
Oh wow!
But yeah, like it was cool, man. I like watching that stuff, seeing that stuff. I'm just like, I remember when those guys were in my middle school auditorium.
Yep, isn't that cool? They used to do those those school tours, man.
and Jerry Lawler. That's a funny thing because I actually saw him in person maybe a year or two ago. I don't think his health's doing too good now, but Jerry, where I live now is in Paducah, Kentucky. I'm right across the river from Metropolis, Illinois, where there's the Superman Museum, and then the folks who own the Superman Museum are good friends of mine. And they've got another thing there that's a pop culture place called Hidden Gems. And Jerry comes and does there's a big Superman celebration show they do every year. And typically Jerry is there hanging out with them at Hidden Gems. And so like last year I got to meet Jerry, and it was like, hey man, do you remember Bath County Middle School from the early 80s? And he whether he actually did or not, he's like, yeah, I can kind of remember that place. I was like, yeah, don't. We all tried to forget it. I don't blame you for forgetting it.
All right. So I don't know if we're doing a wrestling podcast or a comic book podcast, but I have no questions for a wrestling podcast.
Well,
so
I can do a beautiful transition if you don't mind me, because I have a little story to share too. So the most recent superstar from WWE I got to meet was AJ Lee. I got to meet her at Comic-Con last year because she's doing a book through Magma Comics. I believe it's called Day of the Dead Girl. I'd have to dig it out to confirm that. Yeah,
I carried it in my shop actually. Yeah,
it's awesome. So I actually got to meet her, and I was really lucky because I found out about that because my buddies at Magma told me about her like biography, Crazy Is My Superpower, and I read that, and like it was just incredible. And so I like showed up right at the end of their signing, and my buddy was just very respectfully like, hey, can you do one more? And she was just so incredible and sweet, man. She wasn't even supposed to be there, but she was like, I ended up being here, so I'll do a signing. And man, it was so cool.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so that was really rad because like I had been wanting to meet, because she influenced and was like one of the spearheads of like the dynamic change of women's wrestling in the WWE, especially more modern, So
one of my main characters these days is Eva from Brides, and I will unabashedly point out that there is a direct influence on Eva from the wrestler Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rhea Ripley
definitely.
That's a
She is.
wrestler. I don't know.
You gotta
So-
look her up.
she's like goth mommy of the wrestling community right now.
She really calls
Okay.
herself has this MAMI written on all kinds of stuff. Come to mommy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like she's
all right.
hilarious. I
Oh,
just
she's-
love the whole thing with her and Liv Morgan.
hmm
Oh wow. All right, so
The,
Brock,
the chick side of wrestling is actually where the entertainment is.
so actually, talking about wrestling kind of does play into the theme of the show. So
Cool.
Brock, you are familiar with how we do this, right?
A little bit, but I would love just a refresh if you don't mind. Yeah.
All right. So here's what we do. We always spend the first half or the first segment of the podcast talking about wrestling. No, we don't do that.
Cool.
Really. So usually we give that segment to you to talk about your project, what you got going on. We're gonna be coming up on our first commercial break here in a minute. So we're gonna let you, when we come back, we're gonna let you do that, talk about your stuff, and then we are going to pit writers versus artists. We are the one rule we have here. No bullshit, fluffy, oh my God, everybody I've worked with is so awesome answers. None of that crap. We'll call you on it. So we're going to ask you hard questions, and we're going to get real because we want to talk about the how the sausage is made creating a comic book. So we want to hear your horror stories. We want to hear your real thoughts to these. And the whole point in the end is to talk about how you've overcome those things and it's made your product better. The lesson I always talk about how we fight like hell when we're creating a book together, but the work always turns out to be pretty damn good. So, so you are, I want to make sure you are a writer, right?
Yeah, I mainly am a writer, correct.
Okay, good. So, all right. So, Jay, why don't we go and take our commercial break? I know we're 2 minutes early, and then we will come right back with Brock, and we will get this thing going.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
Hey, did you know that you're invited to an art gala? No, I mean the fun kind. It's SketchUp with Mog and Mel.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us.
Featured guests talk about their new projects.
So it takes place in this fantasy world where the world has kind of lost its stories.
And life as an artist.
The hope was that you could make some amount of money when you exited art school.
While the ever-changing artist panel draws new works live in front of your eyes.
Oh, I like that. Working on the
And
shadow.
sexy. Sex, dude.
You still got a little bit of time.
Ooh, Phil, that's dope, dude.
SketchUp with Mog and Mel. Thursday nights. Part of the experience.
Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it. In a world where you hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, that'd be really great, thanks.
All right, right, guys, welcome back to Writer versus Artist. I'm your host, Rich Davis. My co-host, partner in crime, and often collaborator, Mr. Les Garner, up in the upper right-hand corner. And down below, we've got Mr. Brock Smith, our guest. He's on today talking about his brand new book. You are live on Kickstarter, or are we in pre-launch right now?
We're in pre-launch for the new book. I am putting finishing touches on the page, and then I just got to send it in for approval. So we should be expecting the official pre-launch page to be able to like start backing and stuff to be ready in about a week or so. Goal is to be live during WonderCon. So as long as we're live during WonderCon, that's the goal. So
tell us about the book, man. What's going on with it?
Yeah, so I'm really excited. So this is my second book that I've written that I'm working on, second story. It's called Pain, and it's my own San Diego superhero story. And I grew up reading superhero comics, and I grew up in San Diego. So it always dumbfounded me.
Superheroes in San Diego, dude, that's weird.
What?
I was making a bad joke about you grew up in San Diego, you love superheroes. Like, well, what does that have to do with what you're doing now?
And that's exactly it, right? How often do you see San Diego in comic books? Not often. And I thought that's really dumb. So I wanted to give San Diego superheroes. So Pain is this story about a superhero duo named Sham Pain, right? Sham is a telekinetic telepath, and Pain is kind of like your brawler with like strength and regeneration. And the idea for that duo kind of came from a Spider-Man Wolverine team-up comic, and I loved that dynamic. So I kind of got inspiration from that. And so essentially what happens is they're investigating missing college students, and you find out that their big arch nemesis, Mabus, is the one behind it. And Mabus is a parasitic body hopper. But the catch is he can only body hop through using bodies of his bloodline. So what you come to find out is he's actually he's from pre-Civil War, right? And his, big traumatic thing happens and activates his powers and sets him off on this killing spree. So he's essentially been hunting people down since before the Civil War, clearing like this basically bloodline. And Sham and Pain are the main people who hold him back because he hasn't been able to get to his targets in San Diego because they keep stopping him. So that's kind of the gist of it.
I love that you're setting it in San Diego because I actually I do a workshop with writers and artists here in Cookeville, Tennessee, trying to help them learn how to get their comics made. And I was having the conversation with them, like, because every single one of them wanted to set their book in New York. And I'm like, dear God, people, filmmakers, TV producers, comic book artists, there are other cities in this country besides New York. My God, do something different. So, I like to set mine in Tennessee. Every one of my books has a Tennessee connection. The new book I'm working on, Night Song, is set in Nashville, Tennessee. I know Les is very proud of his Southern Kentucky heritage as well. And I really think
Appalachia represent.
Yes, sir. When you write something, like what the hell do I know about New York City? I go to New York Comic Con. I go there to watch Broadway shows. I go to the Tonys. I do, but I'm there for a weekend. What do I know?
Yeah.
I go to a Yankees game. What do I know about New York? Nashville, I know Nashville. Knoxville, I know Knoxville. Small town Sparta, Tennessee, that nobody's ever heard of. I know that. So when I write about it, it comes through. It's like I actually know what I'm talking. I'm not just using landmarks that every tourist goes to see that I just got on Google. So I'm sure that comes across with your San Diego too.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you bring that up, because one of the things I've done is I've gone to a couple local businesses when I started writing the book. And I went to them and I said, hey, this is a place I really enjoy. I'm a comic book writer. I would love to feature your company in my story if I can. And my favorite cigar shop in Oceanside called the Cigar Grotto. Greg, the owner's name's Greg. He's super cool. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Just keep me updated and stuff. And like, we'll go from there. But like, and it's, I think something like that is so important to telling a story based in a city, regardless of the city, but especially in a city that's not used as much, because it brings a level of realism, right? So people who live in San Diego that read my book that maybe smoke cigars or live in Oceanside and have seen Cigar Grotto be like, oh, that's cool. That's like the old Oceanside like strip. Like I know exactly where that is, right? And that I feel like it just brings another level to it, right? So
I can dig that for sure. There's definitely a thing with. Are we still on? Okay, definitely a thing with. Oh, Rich is talking and he doesn't know that he's talking. Doesn't know. That
is he muted?
Hey, Rich. Rich, we can't hear you.
For a second, I thought we were shifting over to charades, and I was like, I played this a lot growing up.
I just flip him off a lot.
That's a true friend.
Because he's still here, but he can't say anything. So I can
hear
just
me? Am I back?
Oh, damn it! I was about to
I have been having technical difficulties this whole time, and so Eddie,
right as me and Wes were about to have real fun.
Yeah, we're about to cut loose, man. It's rip on Rich time.
You know, hey, I'm used to it. You know, it's like, you know, I don't punch down at you guys, but I understand why you punch up at me.
Shit.
Yeah, it's a little guy trying to level up, you know.
Exactly. You're like little Mario waiting for your mushroom.
Exactly. Especially me, right? I'm definitely Mario right now.
I'll happily play the role of the big dog peeing on the little dog. I don't care. I'll hike that leg and make it mine.
Doesn't surprise me at all. All right, so you are in pre-launch on Kickstarter, and you're going to launch by WonderCon. When is WonderCon? That's
it's the end of March. It's that last weekend of March. So my goal is to be live probably, I would say right like 2 weeks before. So probably mid-March is when I want to launch, because I want to try and go into WonderCon with a little bit of a following, right? So I'll probably launch early March and then have it run through WonderCon and then go from there.
Okay.
What city is WonderCon in?
It's in Anaheim. The March one's in Anaheim, and I love that convention center. It's fantastic. They do a really good job with that show.
I don't get out west very often.
Oh man, if you ever do, you gotta let me know.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hey, Jake, can you mute me for just a second? I've got to take this call. It's from my
Oh, you just got
cut? You just cut mid-sentence. Is he calling you?
Oh, I think he's answering a phone.
Yeah, he had to take a call, so I muted him.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he had to take a call. Nah, that happens. Yeah, I think most of the shows that I do, I haven't been out west since probably 2003.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I did San Diego Con 2003. And that wasn't even me doing comics. That was in my day job that I had for like 20 some years. I was a technical director for animation studios.
Cool.
So, and I was brought out there to like demo some software and do some panels and weird stuff. And that was fun. And it was funny because that thing in 2003 actually brought me back into comics.
Oh, that's rad. Well, Comic-Con hasn't gotten any less hectic. I much prefer WonderCon.
It was nuts. And like, I'm glad I experienced it once, but you know, I much prefer the smaller shows.
Me too. I'd love to though get out east and do Baltimore one year, at least. I've heard Baltimore's a good show.
I'll tell you the show to do. I'm looking forward to, because I'm finally getting to do it. I know a lot about it, and I'm finally doing it this year. Is Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm looking.
I'll have to look into that.
So, and then I actually do more horror cons than I do comic. So,
oh, that's cool. I want to get into more horror cons because I love writing about mythology and like the dark side of stuff and horror. I love horror.
I'm basically assistant editor on a series called Gasp. That's a horror anthology, and I usually draw the main story in Gasp. But we're actively looking for people to contribute stories, because we'll do like one 30-page story in it, and then we'll do like 2 to 4 smaller 4 to 6 page stories in it.
Okay, I'd love to connect with you after the show and pick your brain on that more.
Hell yeah, man! I'd like to get you on. We can talk about it a little bit, because that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm sure Rich has got some questions teed up for you about the book you got coming out.
Yeah, I'm
absolutely.
Back. Am I unmuted? All right, awesome. Okay, so apologies. I run a comic book store, and my employee had a situation just happen that he couldn't handle without talking to me. So I'm actually probably, after our next break, I'm probably gonna have to dip out, Les, and turn the show over to you, because I got to get that taken care of. Pissy customer. I hate to do that. But before we do that, we got some time before the break here. So Brock, we're going to start. Let's start hitting. Again, the rule is no fluffy answers, man, because that's boring. All right. So Les said something in the lead-in before you got here, talking about his new book, Emerald, and his book Brides, talking about he's drawing somebody's character, Dorothy, but then he stopped and he said, well, actually it's my character Dorothy, because I designed her. Does that piss you off as a writer?
She's like half mine.
No, absolutely not. No, it doesn't. And I will tell you why. I can understand where the question comes from, but for me, especially if it's a character that I've created that's been established as long as someone like Dorothy or whatever, right? The fact that someone finally decides to reinterpret my character is so cool. It's part of what makes storytelling and comics such a beautiful thing to be part of, is the interpretations. So if 10 years down the line, Les is like, hey, I want to recreate your fucking Pain or your bad guy or whatever, and he has a bitching idea. Yeah, fucking do it.
All right, well,
I think that's so cool.
Right,
that's a compliment.
All right, well, maybe with a character like Dorothy, I feel you on that. All right, let's take your character Pain. Okay. Now, you've worked really, really hard and really, really long creating that character. Who they are, their personality. They're probably how they look. You've thought about this. You put all this work in it. And let's say, your Kickstarter's up and all of a sudden, the book takes off and you get published, and your illustrator comes in and says, oh yeah, that's my character, and just says nothing about you. Now, come on.
I think then it gets down to contractual stuff.
Right.
I'm being really honest. I'm being really honest. I'm not bullshitting you, because the way so my main artist, my main artist and I work is we are specifically collaborators on the 2 stories that we're doing together, which is Pain and our other title, The Ferryman. And one thing I personally struggle with, and I know this sounds kind of silly coming from a writer, is like fine description details. So sometimes what I do is I let my artist have that creative freedom to design it. So yeah, I created this character, but I had help with it. And my artist also is aware of how it is. Now, I don't know how they feel. I think depending on who it is and whatnot, I think then it would be like a talk, right? But I think the idea of it, especially as a younger creator, it's cool to see people replicate what you're doing. once again, I still see it as a compliment for the most part, because that means my stuff is out there and people are enjoying it enough to put their spin on it. And I think that is so cool.
Artist, like you've got the headspace that the character exists in from the writer, and then you've got this whole other headspace the character exists in from the artist. And especially if it's a character that the artist didn't conceive of, where there's a probability that more than just that artist are going to be drawing it. Well, that version that artist draws is his, that character is his for that. Kind of like when an actor, it's like Christian Bale has his Batman.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck has his Batman.
But Christian Bale doesn't say, "Oh, I own Batman. That's my Batman. That's my character."
Well, I mean, I've heard Henry Cavill say that's my Superman, and everybody knows what he means. And
and that's up for interpretation, right? Because that's it. He could be saying that's my interpretation. That's my Superman.
And
right?
Everybody knows what he means, and I think to infer more than that is kind of it's putting an intention on that person that you don't know that they intend. So unless if somebody goes on for a while about how they, oh yeah, that's mine, and there's a tone and a context to it that is different. So those the nuances matter. And like in the case of Dorothy, that character has actually gotten backstory worked into her in this book that comes from my own mother.
Oh, that's cool.
She is kind of mine. She's at least half mine. Even the guy who, like, the writer on the book, he's like, yeah, Dorothy is, like it's there was a lot with Dorothy that needed to be fleshed out, and then I came in and there were ideas that he had on the table with the project, and we started talking, and I was like, this right here would make this beautiful and tragic. And he was like, and it became me and the guy have become really good friends entirely, I think, spawned from the conversations about what I could bring to Dorothy from my own mother. So I won't give the story stuff away, but it has to do with spending time in an insane asylum. And it's like powerful stuff.
All right. So Brock, do you now this question is going to be interesting because I don't know the dynamic between you and your illustrator. So are you doing a work for hire, or are you splitting ownership of the IP with your illustrator? How does your contract situation work?
Yeah, with my illustrator, we are essentially splitting the IP with our 2 stories that we're doing. And that goes back to the creative thing I mentioned, right? Like, I can tell a story, I can do what I need to, I can give some details, but some stuff's really difficult for me because I think visually, which is ironic because I'm not like an actual traditional artist. But then I do rely on my artist, my illustrator, to kind of help put their spin on it and help finish bringing it to life. And in my brain, with that situation and with them, it would feel wrong to just say that is all my stuff. And then when we go through the creative process, I get to see the step-by-step art. So if there's something I'm like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about like that hair color or that whatever, this or that, then just kind of like how Les was explaining with his current writer, you got to have that open dialogue. And sometimes you never know. As a writer, I love it when sometimes my artist is like, hey, I kind of inserted a page here because it helped with flow. I hope that's okay. And we review it, and holy crap, like they just added 4 panels I didn't know I needed, but it totally made it flow that much better, right? And so you got to have that communication. It's so important, so.
Absolutely. So do you, because this is the part that a lot of people watching and listening have no idea about, the back end, the behind the scenes making of a comic book. So now you've said that it's sort of an IP share. So does that mean that you're paying your artist a page rate and you're giving them a part of the IP, or is it a legitimate partnership where you're taking the risk, they're taking the risk? If it hits, you both hit. If it bombs, you both bomb.
The latter. It's the latter. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a true partnership. Okay.
Yeah, and I love it, and I know it doesn't always work out with everyone, but this is the first artist I had, and luckily I struck gold with my very first artist, and we clicked from day one, and we've been able to have those uncomfy conversations and figure things out, and it's taken us a long time to get where we are, but it's only made us that much stronger as a creative team. And if anything is ever coming up that might interfere with the creative process or anything, neither of us we're both at a point where we can just reach out, no hesitation.
See, that's the key right there, is that's what Les and I always talk about, is that collaboration, that working together, that honestly, it's being able to piss each other off that ultimately makes the book better. And so that really is that's the magic, that's the secret sauce to making a comic book, and it's that relationship. So have you ever been in a work for hire situation where you just paid your artist a page rate and you maintained ownership of the IP, or have you just always done partnerships?
Right now I've only done the partnerships for my personal stories. We just finished up kickstarting a book called Destined for Something Greater. It's a high fantasy macabre story written by a friend of mine, and his team is work for hire. And, for the most part, I totally see why people do it and why it works and why it's preferred. And from the other side, I see why it can be a headache, because it does have its issues and it does have its hiccups, but you're going to have your ups and downs regardless of what way you approach it,
Yep. So, I lost my question here. Oh, here we go. Have you, now when I'm asking this question, I'm going to frame it. I'm not asking about how your artist has treated you or your illustrator has treated you, but in the broader context of other creators, fans, things like that, have you ever felt pressured to downplay your importance to a project and defer to have you ever felt pressure, like, I've got to say, oh yeah, the illustrator makes my book?
No.
You ever felt?
No, personally, no, because and it's interesting because I come from an old school Midwest family, and so I'm raised to bite the bullet, get it done, whatever you got to do. But being raised in California has also taught me to learn to understand it's okay to ask for help. And thankfully, the values that my parents instilled in me that were only strengthened through my fraternity experience and the groups that I surround myself with, I've learned to be humble and recognize when to be humble. Sometimes I think, one of my friends joked that sometimes I'm too humble or too nice. But I always try and give credit where credit is due. I understand I can't do everything. And so for me to say, this is all me, they just did a thing, that once again, that just doesn't sit right, with me. It feels wrong to try and do something like that. So
right, now I understand it feels wrong for you to take all the credit and say, oh, the artist just did blah, blah, blah. But when it's reversed, like, do you ever feel like, oh, my contribution's not as important to the book because comics is a visual medium, which that'll lead me to my next question. Okay. So, we would all agree that films and television are visual mediums, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why doesn't the director of photography get as much credit or more credit as the showrunner who wrote and created the book or the film, whereas it's in the comic book community, it's a visual medium, so the writer is less important than the illustrator. The illustrator makes the book. What's the difference? Oh, did we freeze or did I freeze?
I think we froze. I'm here.
I think he was thinking about it. I've got my thoughts on that one. I have my serious thoughts on that one.
Oh, I know we do, Les. I think we've talked about this before, so so we're throwing those can you hear us now, Brock?
Yeah, I can hear you. I missed you. I lost you about halfway through the question.
Okay. All right. So I'll reframe it real quick. All right. So film and television, visual mediums, comic books, visual mediums. In comic books, people say, oh, it's a visual medium, so the artist is the most important part. The writer is just basically replaceable. But in film, it's the complete opposite. The showrunner, the writer of the film or the television series, they get the credit. They're important because they created it. But not the director of photography, not the cameraman who created the pictures. So do you feel like that's a fair dynamic, or do you see similarities or differences in the two scenarios?
Personally, I would say I do see some similarities, and to a degree, I would say no, it's not fair. And my reason being is one. Well, first and foremost, you say in comics, the writers are replaceable, and I think everyone is. But even though it's a visual medium, you can tell when the writing has changed more often than not, and that's going to impact it, right? Now, as far as where credit goes, I think both industries are a little skewed, in my opinion, because with art, you have various levels of the art that gets done. Thankfully, in my situation, my artist does every piece of the art, every step of it. And that's why we keep it. What's that?
I like him already because I do that on 2/3 of stuff.
They're the best. I love them.
I mean, in a film, the visual effects guys for Marvel.
Well, so I'm kind of building up to that. So, you have all your different levels of the creative process in both ends, and there's those unsung heroes that don't get the credit they deserve. And it's unfortunate because that goes everything in movies, that goes everything from the folks you're mentioning, the direct, the screen text and everything, all the way down to the aides and everything. Everyone has their important role. Just like in comics, every level of the creative process, all the way to the shipping and getting it on a shelf or in people's hands, has an important process, right? So does your editor always get the credit they deserve? No. Does your penciler or your inker get the credit they deserve? No. Right? So I think both industries are skewed in where credit goes. And I think
two nuggets to drop on this. Two of my own nuggets to drop on this. One, because I was an animation and effects guy forever and a day. Started in comics, went to that stuff. But I had someone, I won't say who, but someone very, very, very prominent, a former ILM guy, once said to me, our job is to not be seen. When we're doing animation and effects and all that kind of stuff in the movies, our job, if you look and you go, oh, they did a really good job there, that means you noticed it outside the context of the story. You noticed it. We're supposed to disappear. It's like the old ninjas, and the ninja outfit people in the theaters who would move in black along the black screens and change stuff and do things. That's what those people are supposed to do. Like when you go into that world, that's what you're going into. There's no misconception. You just want to make a good product and put it out. So, the fact that there's even credits on movies is actually kind of glorious, kind of wild. And then the other thing is actually something that I remember seeing on a placard on the desk of President Ronald Reagan. Said, there's no limit to what you can achieve as long as you don't care who gets the credit.
Yeah, but artists care a lot about who gets the credit.
Well, it's because if we don't get credit, we don't get more work.
Do you think it's different for is that ever? Do you think it's different for a writer, Brock?
No,
like if
I don't.
We don't get credit. We don't get work. Well, we get work because we're the one creating the work and paying people. We're kind of the CEOs of our own business.
We can always make the work happen, but it also depends on what you're considering, right? Like, are you consistently trying to work for one of the big three or the big two publishers, right? Are you trying to work for one of them? Are you just trying to write? You know, because that's where my journey started. I wanted to just write to write, and I tried pitching and it didn't work out for me, unfortunately. So I said, F it, I'm going to do it myself. And it's been a rocky road, but I'm so glad that I did, because I've had that full control to decide how things go and who I want to work with. Right. So
have you ever turned a profit on one of your, not for you, an actual profit when you minus the page rates, the colorists, the editors, the inkers, all those people that go into it? Have you personally ever made a profit?
Yeah, I've come out of one of our Kickstarters with a couple $100 in my pocket, and that was really cool. But at the same time, I'm building my own indie publishing brand, so a chunk of my profit ends up going back into the company, so my company profits more. But yeah, I've seen it, and I always make sure that everyone. I try and make sure everyone who was a part of the project, from creative to marketing to helping me package the comics and ship them, right? I want to try and get everyone some kind of cut. And if in the end that means I take a smaller cut, but my people get taken care of and my company gets a little bit of money in its pocket, then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with walking away with the smaller cut, because that means I'm building that rapport with my team. I'm building up the financial stability of my company. So if I personally have to take a little bit of a hit to invest in the future of what I want to do, then I will absolutely make that investment.
Will your creative team, will they do the same for you if it's to a point where you're like, hey, I really want to get this made, I really need to get this book out there, but I can't pay you? Are they going to go to the mat and return that favor for you?
Absolutely.
Ooh,
and
I saw Les's eyebrow twitch a little bit there.
So my next statement.
I'm sorry. I do it for a living.
And that's the thing is,
artists who do it for a living. Honestly, I really dislike the kind of conversation we bring up on this stuff, because as an artist, I do the stuff for a living and have 32 years. And whenever that kind of stuff comes up, it's like, oh, look, I'm just supposed to sling 32 years worth of stuff for free because you can't freaking pay me. And I don't wish that on artists who've been in it as long as I have, or who are just starting. Oh, that shit makes me mad as hell.
Well, and let me explain my side a little bit, because
you said you're working with collaborators, and that's a different deal.
Yeah, well, and what's beautiful is my illustrator understands, because they are my main creative team, right? And so they understand that while we're learning to pick up and tie our shoes and put on our belt straps and whatever the statements are, right? They understand that my goal is to make this a living, so I can pay them like what they should when they should. Right now, I'm very thankful, because what makes my collaboration with this artist and this person work so well is they understand that some of the money is a good chunk of it probably won't come till after the Kickstarter is completed. But I have proven to them that I am good for my word, right? So now we're starting to get to the point where I can be like, hey, here's a couple $100 to get started on the next project, and we'll get you the rest after the Kickstarter. And they have that faith and trust in me that I will get this company to a point where we can make this a living and we can be paid accordingly and on a regular schedule for our books. And there's no bullshit, I hate the fact, and I when Rich was going to say, what's the nitty gritty? We want the bullshit of the making the comics. Well, I have so many artists that genuinely want work, and I have so many stories that people have brought to me. But the hardest thing is finding that money, right? And so that is why part of why I love my artists is because they are understanding of where we are at. So they say, "Hey, pay me out of the Kickstarter. I just want to make comics." So it works out.
I can tell you, like if folks are comfortable with an artist doing stuff for super cheap or free, then they need to be comfortable with an artist who gives them a page every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
why are writers supposed to expected to come up with thousands of dollars and we get paid last? Because there would be no job without you.
Because you have the easier job. Straight up, you have the easier job, and I'm tired of acting like you don't. If it takes you more than a week to write a comic book, you've got a problem. Because it takes an artist, most artists, it takes at least a month to draw a comic book. I'm a little faster than most, and I get penalized for it all the damn time. Because every time I turn around, I got people asking me, "Oh, since you're so quick, can you do this, that, and the other?" I'm like, no, I can't. Because you're not paying me for how long it takes. You're paying me for how long it does not take.
Mm-hmm.
I get. You caught me on a day when I've still got some energy left in the tank at the end of the day. And
this is what makes the show
great. I want the energy, Les. No, I love it. Because here's the thing is I'm a creative too, dude. And I want everyone. My thing is part of what makes my formula work as well as it has so far is because I put those creatives before me, because I understand the creative process. I understand what it takes. I live with artists. Some of my best friends are artists. And whenever I am stressed out about this artist or who to go with or what I need to do, my roommate comes and they remind me, "Hey man, there's a lot that goes into it." So I don't know if I'm personally like a 1 in a million, right? Kind of guy that's like, "Hey, I need everyone else. I understand." Or I'm willing to lean into that understanding. Once again, it goes to my friends joking that I'm too nice of a guy sometimes. But I know that people want to be paid for their work. And that's why I'm comfortable being paid last, taking a smaller cut.
The point that I make about artists is that most artists, and like I said, I'm faster than most, but most artists, like most pencilers, if they're working every day, they're going to do about a page a day, if that.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they're not working every day is because they've got to go work another job or whatever. And the amount of time it takes to draw a book is wildly disproportionate compared to the time it takes to write a book. And like I said, if you're a writer who takes that damn long to write, I'm sorry, that's on you.
I think that depends on the writer and their process. Every writer's different, just like every artist is different.
I don't get into the artsy fartsy stuff about their process, though. I'm like, are you doing this or are you not? Is it a hobby? If it's a hobby, cool, you can slow down and none of it matters because it's a hobby. But if you're doing it, trying to do it as a professional, there's different scopes to the time frames on things for professional writers versus professional artists, which directly relates to that entire discussion.
Sorry, my mic cut out again, guys. I am having wicked technical difficulties over here. So we're gonna let some pressure out because this got really good, and this is me and Les. I
love this. I'm having a blast
Rich
with this.
I'll go the fuck off screen. Pardon me, I didn't even mean to cuss on here, but he knows I will go off screen.
See, Les will come up and punch me, and then he'll give me a hug. So that's kind of
that's a good friend. That's a true friend.
I'll with my bad arm next time. I can throw punches with my left hand again.
All right, we got to take our commercial break real quick, so let's do that, and then we'll be right back, and hopefully nobody dies in the interim.
FOC, a comic industry term for the final day a new comic can be ordered by a local comic shop. So, what does that mean to you? Well, it's your last chance to order a new comic book from your local comic shop. Order Up, the FOC show, will go over every book that's about to be cut off every Friday afternoon.
I'm going to highlight some of the stuff that I think is really worth paying attention to,
so that you can put in an order at your LCS for as many copies or as many variant covers as you want.
Sometimes the store needs to know to up their orders.
Never miss out on a popular comic again. Order Up, part of the experience. Whoa. Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome, it's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So.
It's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of the experience.
We know you probably get a lot of emails, but could you please make sure to sign up for our mailing list? We don't send a lot of emails, and we try not to bother you. We just want to give you the best information about all the cool stuff that's going on around here. Sign up on our website, theexplive.com. Twitch, it's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
All right, guys. Hey, we are all still here. Nobody died. Nobody cut each other. And if you saw us in our last segment, that was kind of an iffy thing here, you know. So welcome back to Writer versus Artist. I'm your host, Rich Davis, my co-host and partner, oftentimes collaborator, Mr. Les Garner, and we have Brock Smith down here talking about his new book. And we haven't scared him off yet with these questions. Although you know, I see you sweating there, man. That's good. That's what makes it so much fun. So we got pretty heated in that last one. So let's see. Let's try to turn that heat up. No, I'm kidding. We probably can't turn it up higher than that. Let's get into kind of the mechanics. We've talked about how your artist, your illustrator, sometimes gives you extra panels, extra pages. Without asking, which that can be very, very cool. But do you ever feel, or have you ever felt like there was a time that your artist, your illustrator, hijacked your story and took it somewhere where you weren't intending it to go? And if so, how did you handle it? And if not, then hypothetically, how would you respond in that situation?
With this artist, I have not had that issue yet, but I did try to collaborate with another artist a couple years ago on a different story I wanted to do. And it started very much off as, hey, I've got this story, I have the script, I like your art, I would love for you to illustrate it. And they were on board. And then suddenly a lot of these creative ideas for the story started coming up. And at first I said, cool, I like some of your ideas, the potential of them, let's sit down and talk about them. And it kind of just ended up going in circles where we couldn't either work it in, and they were very adamant about putting these ideas in. And I got to the point where I honestly just said, hey, if you want to do your own version of this story, you can, but I think we need to, you know, separate. And it was frustrating for a long time. I grew up in a family of 4 boys, all wrestlers and football players. And so I grew up in a very aggressive household. And so it takes me a lot to, like, sometimes I can get really frustrated, right? And thankfully, as I've gotten older, I've learned to control that. And I've worked on my patience and things like that. However, they really pushed my patience, and it was to the point where I just finally was like, nope, we're doing two different things. We need to just be done. So
you just parted company, and because you could. This is one of those guys that you or I don't know, guy, girl, however, one of those people you just couldn't make it work. You just could not get
right.
Couldn't, as my grandfather used to say, y'all couldn't g-haul.
Yeah, we couldn't figure it out, man. And I decided that instead of trying to put a fucking puzzle piece into a hole that doesn't fit, bro, like, save yourself the time and energy and mindset and just say it's okay to walk away. That story's still sitting on the shelf for now, and that's okay. When I find the artist for that, I find the artist for that. I got other stuff I'm doing, so.
Nice. That's a great answer. And guys, I'm going to have to dip right here. I'm going to let Les finish the rest of the show. Brock will turn it over. He do his awesome thing and talk lots of crap about me, which is really awesome. But to everybody out there, I'm sorry I have to go. I've got a nuclear customer situation going on in my comic book store that my employee can't handle. So I got to go because that's how I eat.
You got to do what you got to do. Thank you for having me, Rich, man. I hope you work it all out, man.
Thank you so much, guys.
30. Well, I'll hang out here for about another 30 before I have to go for my physical therapy stuff.
All right. Appreciate you, Les. Well, thanks. And Brock, thank you. Great meeting you.
Pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So now the party really begins, right?
Yeah. Now that whole discussion is something that he and I have had. It's really why this podcast started. I think it was, it was an opportunity. I don't know. It's like, it's kind of like we're rehashing the same thing every week a little bit and that stuff, but he knows I'm gonna stand my ground on it because it's what I do.
Yeah.
You
should, man.
When I was in the animation and effects industries, I used to manage as a technical director. I would manage and put together teams of artists for effects houses. And I would manage, teams of artists who come together for effects houses, for different types of productions, video games, TV, crap like that, all that kind of junk. And, I kept a list of artists a mile long from all over the globe, and I would call them, get them involved. And one of the reasons why I was successful with that, I think probably the biggest reason, is all my artists knew. They knew they would get paid before I ever saw a penny. They knew I would go to bat for them, and they knew that they would be treated right, no matter what. And that's how you get good art out of people, good work out of people. So,
I completely agree, man. I grew up, I touched on a little bit about some of my friends being artists and things like that, but I've got friends that do other forms of art, whether it's writing, poetry, music, acting, whatever. Excuse me. And because of that, especially one of my best friends in the music career or music industry, he's explained it and he's showed me documentaries, and I'm just like, man, if I just remember watching a documentary on Anvil, and I love that, man. They put on a killer show.
They're funny, man.
They're gold, man. But I remember watching their documentary and hearing about the shit that they went through. And I remember this was kind of right around when I was really dipping into and starting my comic book journey. I remember watching that and telling myself, dude, if I ever have the ability and opportunity to pay someone for work, they have to get paid for their work. I've heard horror stories from actors, but mostly my musician and artist friends about how they've been screwed over by a publisher or by a venue or a record dealer or whatever. And I just told myself, and I told myself this when I started Bad Bunker, is I will never treat someone like that if, to the best of my ability. And having so many friends that are in the creative genres, I think has made a big influence on why I feel the way I do. Yeah, I want to make my money and get paid for my writing and my stories. And I want my company to grow and, maybe become a household name someday.
You got
But I
some of those
can't,
Midwest ethics coming through, my friend.
there it is. But
Yeah.
I can't do that without my team. And if
Yeah.
I can't pay my team, then I can't get my story made, which means I can't publish books, which means my company doesn't grow. So I need to take care of my team before I take care of me. So
Yep.
at least financially to the best of my ability,
Oh, well,
So-
you can just look through the people that I work with, and you can tell who absolutely does right by me because of the amount of work that I've done with them.
Mhm.
It's just like you'll see now. That's maybe not a fair assessment because at least one person I know I absolutely love, and I've only done one book with him. That's about to change, but he does so many other books that he just doesn't have time to swing back around. But and when it comes to companies and businesses and people that I work with like that, you can pretty much tell, like if you see me work with somebody and it's one and done, there's probably a good chance that I'm like, yeah, I'm not necessarily going to walk into that situation again.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
like I'm an artist who like I will, when I take on a project, one of the things that I mentally have in mind with the project is it will get done. It will see the light of day. By hook or by crook, it's going.
Oh no, we froze.
Sometimes I end up going above and beyond in ways that actually cost me dearly just to make sure the book gets out, because it's a way to put this. Sometimes you get, let's say you've got a book that's, I don't know, a 200-page opus. Somebody's paying you to work on it. You get 100 pages deep, and all of a sudden they're like, I can't pay you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just throw away 100 pages of your working life at that point as an artist? Do you just chuck it? What do you do with it? I mean, if they're the writer and you don't own the IP because you were hired, you just walk away? Or do you negotiate and try to come up with a scenario that lets that work get out somehow? And then if you do negotiate that scenario as an artist, if you negotiate that scenario, how do you keep that from turning into a thing where word gets out? Yeah, just have this guy do half the project. He'll cover the other half for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are real. I mean, like I speak from experience. These are real world things that, I actually wish Rich were in here to hear that, because, that's one that I'd be like, hey man, what do you think of this? I know exactly what he'd say, but anyway, it'd be funny to hear him say it. So, I appreciate where you're at with your position on things. It's cool. It's very cool.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot to me, man. And it lets me know, coming from a guy like you who's in this industry and experienced and stuff, that means a lot to me as someone who's only been in it a few years and we're finally starting to get books out. It really does mean a lot. Tells me I'm doing things right. And I think the other part of that, thank you. And I think the other part of that, and this goes for any collaboration or relationship or anything like that, is communication, proper, timely communication, right? So like, if I were in a situation, let's just use my artist and I for an example, and let's pretend we do things a little differently and I pay them per page, right? If I was coming up to the point, or I was going over my finances and I saw shit, I over projected, or oh shit, life happened and I had to get my car fixed or go to the hospital or whatever. suddenly I can't pay my artist. Well, I'm going to immediately let them know and say, hey, this is what happened and this is it. What can we work out? Just like you said. And from there,
communication is key on everything.
So key, man, because if you're given enough of a notice, you can adapt, you can adjust, you can work around it more often than not. And maybe that's me being young and ambitious, but I truly feel like with proper communication, you can get around anything.
Yeah, never let go of that. That right there is, I'm going to say something wild. That more than your talent, more than your ideas, more than your abilities, that right there is what will take you further than anything else. That ethical core and sticking to your guns on that is the most important thing you can ever have. Because over time, your talent will change, your taste will change, your skills will grow and ebb and flow, and all kinds of things will change. But if you keep that moral core, that ethical core like that, then that becomes a thing that people are like, yeah, that guy's solid. That's all you ever. The greatest thing anyone can ever say is that guy is solid. I can trust him. And as long as you've got that, man, everything will work out. Everything's great.
Thank you. That means a lot, man. That's my goal, man. Is happy, humble, respectful is like the biggest thing the biggest three things for me. Try to stay happy, try to stay humble, but always be respectful. And
I am kind of at this point kind of a salty old dog at this stuff, which is why I got a little, I was like, no, Rich, we're not doing this tonight. I'm not.
I loved it though.
Yeah, when I was young, I was opinionated because I was an asshole, and now I'm opinionated because I'm old enough to have earned it.
Yeah. Now that's what opinions you were an asshole about then stand and have backing, right?
Yeah. You look. It's a fun part of getting older is when you can look back and go, yeah, I was wrong about some things, but I was right about some things too.
Yeah, and those feel good.
They do feel good. You will tend to grab onto those and hold them real tight because the stuff you're wrong about is probably just painful.
Painful and embarrassing.
Yep.
It's
like, we don't talk about those things.
We remember them because they helped us be who we are, but we don't got to talk about them.
Yeah. Just because it molded me doesn't mean I had to like it.
Yeah, exactly. Lord knows we all got plenty of things like that in our lives.
So what part of Indiana are you from originally, man?
So I was born in Indianapolis. My family lived in Fisher for a little bit. And then before my mom had my little brother, we moved out to San Diego. So I'm not wrong when I say I'm from Indiana, but I'd be a liar if I didn't say I'm a Cali boy because I grew up in San Diego, right? But as I've grown up, as you even pointed out, a lot of those mannerisms and things like that from the Midwest, they've come out as I've gotten older. So I am proud to, say I'm from Indiana. And so
I have an aunt who was in Indianapolis for most of her life, and my mother was actually in and out of psychiatric hospitals in Indianapolis until she died. So, I lived in Indy for like a year back in 2000. Oh Lord, 2001 and 2. So.
Well, and when you mentioned that about your mom, man, that really hit because I'm adopted, and I found out because my mom was my mom was an RN at the 93.
Well, I was adopted. I was adopted when I was 3 years old.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh wow, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So my mom was an RN when I was born, and at the hospital I was born at. And
you're gonna laugh. My mom was an RN.
No shit.
Yep.
Okay. So, okay. We might find out we're secretly related with this story. Okay. So here's why what you said about your mom means a lot to me, right? So my mom was an RN at the hospital I was born at. They were adopting. They were looking to adopt, and she got pulled into the office by the head doctor, who said, "Hey, this baby just got born." The mother came in. She denied being pregnant. Doesn't want the baby. It's up for adoption. Do you want it? And my mom said yes. So fast forward to college. I have my mental breakdown, find out I'm bipolar, anxiety, ADHD. And the reason I find out is because when I'm having this really pivotal episode, my mom and I were able to sit down and have a talk. And she said, hey, I saw what she was like and I heard about what she was saying. And I think she, was bipolar. So I looked into it, and I don't necessarily know as much with my mom, but that was how or my biological mom, but that's how I found out I was neurospicy. And so it was a super closed adoption.
Neurospicy. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's a good word.
I dig that, because I hear so many people toss that term around, neurodivergent. I'm like, give me a break.
You want to know a secret, Les?
I legit think are making excuses, but that's cool. I like that one.
The secret is, if you say you're neurospicy, you're actually neurospicy. That's what we never say neurodivergent. We always say neurospicy.
I like that.
So that's the secret for you too. But yeah, so finding that out, and then that's why that really hit hard, because when I found out about my mental divergence and everything, I really started to take mental health more seriously, to the point where I've gotten into fights with my family about mental health, right? And so, that your story with your mom and how you implement some of those specific, different parts of her, and especially some of those parts that you mentioned with the mental hospital, man, it means a lot to me, dude. It really does.
The woman who I would call mom growing up, she was the nurse. And again, it's very similar. And my biological mother was, she was in and out of places most of her life. And actually, she was one of the last patients in America to undergo shock treatment.
Wow.
And, as I got older, I actually the reason I was in Indianapolis for a while was I moved there to take care of her for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very strange experience, because she didn't know who I was. She just knew that she had a baby that had been taken away from her. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was dark. It was definitely one of the saddest times of my life, was dealing with that. But also a good one, because in strange ways I got to know her, even though she didn't know who I was, from day to day when I come to visit. Mm-hmm. So, and the nurses would tell her, your boyfriend's here.
Mm.
They'd call me her boyfriend, and I would come in and sing Elvis songs to her.
Oh man, that's beautiful, man.
But she's no longer with us, and I know she liked Wizard of Oz, and so did I. So yeah, that got put in the book.
Thank you so much for sharing that, man. That's so deep. That's why I love creatives, man, is we just find a way to, express in so many different ways.
It's our job to take that kind of stuff that other people out there have experiences just like them, but they either can't, won't, or don't know how to relay them, so that other people can know they're not alone with them.
God damn it, Les. I need to get you on my mental health and comics panel, bro.
Bet. I'll be down for it, man. I mean, I was diagnosed bipolar manic depressive at age 13. So,
hey, your mom's name wasn't Sarah Bendel, was it? Or Sarah Bloom?
No, it was Anna Karen Justice.
Okay, I figured I'd take the shot in the dark.
Are
we related?
Well, I'll tell you what's a fun shot in the dark is the fact that my biological mother had she had, good Lord, 1, 2, 3, 4. She had 6 kids.
Oh wow!
I have 3 older brothers and 2 younger siblings. One, I'm not sure if it's male or female. I know very little about that one, but I know they're out there. And I have a younger sister who I didn't meet until I was, like 44.
Mm-hmm.
And so fun fact is that I'm genetically a quarter black. It's weird how it all works out, but when you do my genetics, I'm a quarter black.
Well, with the shading, I can see it with your lighting right now. It shows.
My little sister, she's my little sister by a different father.
Wow.
And she's 3/4 black. And
wow.
It's funny because she looks like young pictures of our mom, but darker.
Uh-huh.
And she works as a fashion model in Manhattan.
No shit. Is she working with who's the big fashion model? What was Mark Greenwald's wife?
I know nothing about that world, but I know she was like on a bunch of billboards for a while for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow,
which was just hilarious. And because I lived in Cincinnati for 18 years, and so I'm thinking back, and I'm like, I'm literally walking around the city seeing billboards with my sister on them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she was on end caps in Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
She's been on some different shows. She did a bunch of stuff. She was like an extra or something involved in Amazon's Wheel of Time.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and we didn't know anything about each other until she did the genetic testing, and I got a call one day, or got a Facebook message one day, said, "Hey, can I call you? I think you're my brother." And I was like, okay. And turns out it was my sister. Yeah, it's really weird, man. So this adoption thing, it's, my wife and I are hoping to adopt sometime in the next couple of years. Even though I'm 51, the guy who adopted me was 55 when I was adopted, and so I'm like, yeah, it's not too late. But that's something. A lot of us, you may feel the urge one day. A lot of us who are adopted, oftentimes as we get older, are like, yeah, we gotta carry that on.
It's how we give back. And I decided that from the moment that I understood what it meant. And I, kind of got older to be adopted. I made that decision that when I'm at the point, I will have one kid at the very minimum. I will at the very least adopt one child to be my way of giving back.
My dad told me, like, I was raised knowing that I was adopted because my 3 older brothers got adopted by my dad. My adopted dad's cousin adopted one of them, and the other 2 were in foster care locally, and they raised us knowing who we all were. So I knew from the get-go, and I knew I had these 3 older brothers who I loved dearly. But my dad used to say to me sometimes when I have some of the questions that adopted kids have, he'd look at me and say, "Son, there's one big difference between you and a child who we would have had naturally. It's like, we chose you."
Fuck, man, you're gonna make me cry because you're reminding me of a story with my old man. Because my older brother's adopted too, but from a different family. But when I was younger, I got in this really stupid fight with my old man. And I remember we were in my room and he was sitting on my bed and I was sitting in my desk chair and we're going back and forth. And I had the gall to say, "You adopted me. What do you even care? You're not even my real dad."
Oh.
And it was the first and only time I'd ever seen true tears come from that man. He slid down to the ground And it was the only time he had ever yelled at me with angry love. And he said, fuck you for saying that. I chose you. You are my son. No matter what happens in life, I raised you. I'm your father. You are my son. And we clash, we butt heads from time to time, but I hold that near and dear to my heart, no matter where he's at emotionally or physically or mentally, how he's feeling about me. That stuck with me. And, you know, I'll never forget that. Never.
In a previous marriage, I've already raised one child who wasn't biologically mine. And, you know, I it's, again, age, you know, I understand it from both ends, and it's just it's mind blowing some of the just the things that perspective gives you, especially perspective on that particular type of thing, man. It's wild. Well, dude, I am really glad to have done the show today. I'm a super busy guy most of the time, and sometimes I can't make the show, which is why I'm the co-host. But I'm very glad we met. This was a great conversation. I'm glad Rich had to cut out so this conversation could happen. And,
me too, man.
I have to, you know, folks who've watched the show, they've heard me mention it. I try not to drone on about it, but I actually am 3 years out from a double stroke.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, man.
3 years ago, I was told I would never walk again or use my left arm again. And in spite of all of it, I walk. I am almost able to run again. I can throw some kicks again. I swim. And I have a 205-pound bench press for 30 reps.
Wow.
So it's time to take the fingers still don't work. And every night at 5 o'clock, except for on this night, because I'm always running along with this damn podcast. Every night at 5 o'clock, my wife and I go to the gym, and I spend, 2-3 hours in the gym just beating the ever loving hell out of myself, because it's the only way I'm going to get it back.
Yep. I get that, man. I get that. Well, Les, man, thank you so much for being here and having me. And it truly has been an honor to talk comics and get to know you a little bit. And I'm looking forward to connecting more in the future, man, and doing follow-up talks and podcasts. And
you seem like a solid young man. It's good to meet you, man. And I'm gonna be hopping off here in just a minute, but make sure after the show you look me up primarily on Facebook. That's
okay,
because Facebook sucks, but Facebook Messenger works really well. So
definitely. I'm gonna make sure I follow you as soon as we hop off here, because I want to make sure we have that connection. I really enjoyed our conversation tonight.
Sweet, man. So Jay, if you're back there, I think we're ready to cut out. It's been a fun night. So check us out again next week, whether I'm here or not. I know Rich will be. And thanks Brock for hanging out and telling us about your stuff. Before we head out, tell us again your project, and we'll make sure that the links and stuff go out for it.
Yeah. Well, before I do that, specifically because I want to make sure I stay true to my word about what our conversation was earlier. Jay, thank you for doing all the background behind the scenes bullshit that nobody else wants to deal with. We wouldn't have this show going without you. Otherwise, man, the story is called Pain. It will be live on Kickstarter, probably towards the middle of March, but I'm hoping to have that preview page up in the next week or so. So as soon as I have that, I'll be sure to send it your way. Until then, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Bad Bunker Books. And you can check out our website, badbunker.com. And yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I'm excited to share more when we have more to share.
Cool, man. Well, I look forward to hearing from you. Jay, you ready? You can take us on out.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day. Take care, everyone.
Later, folks.
Bye, everyone.